Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. If you are a lover of lyrics, a sucker for storytelling, or just a flat-out idiot for imagery, then you have landed at the right podcast. You are listening to MyMusicSeen. I am your host, Arnie Cap, and I am joined by my co-hosts, Jeff Spencer and Jeff Willis. This show is dedicated to the amazing storytellers of rock and roll. It doesn't matter the genre, the decade, or the artist. If the lyrics are strong and the story is compelling, we will cover it. If it stirs your soul or gets you thinking, we will discuss it. Even if it makes you say, I never knew that's what that song was about, we will debate it. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Jeff Willis, Jeff Spencer, and Arnie Cap. This is MyMusicSeen.
There it is.
That's a Manny's Music customer right there.
There's a Manny's Music customer right there. And Jeff, who do you know worked at Manny's Music?
That would be you, my friend. That would be you.
Me. Manny's Music, Vice President of Sales. The suit walked in, the Manny's Music, and all those starving musicians / salespeople were like, what the hell just happened to my life? But you know, I grew a ponytail just to take that gig.
I've seen that picture.
Yeah. Well, how you guys doing? We're recording. We are ready to go.
Okay.
You guys doing good?
I'm ready. When are we doing the intro music or?
The intro music played, Spence.
Oh, golly.
Pick up your guitar.
Well, this is the sex, drugs, and rock and roll episode, so I might be a little bit involved in one of those three right now. I'll let you guess.
Let me guess.
You guys doing good?
Yeah.
Doing great.
So Jeff Spencer, you are correct. This is the episode called Who Wrote It Better? Sex, Drugs, Rock and Roll. And each of us are going to offer up a song. Each of us are going to offer up a song that we believe best epitomizes lyrically the storyline of sex, drugs, rock and roll. And of course, for all six of you who are listening out there.
Thanks,
hey,
Mom.
Yeah. And John Hahn. I know John.
Oh, yeah, John.
John Hahn is definitely listening. He loves this show. We are in a silent ballot right now. We have picked separate songs. We believe, and I can assure you. Well, I kind of tipped my hand on our group text, but that was smoke and mirrors. I changed it up.
Okay.
I changed it up.
Okay, you're gonna come at us with a Butch Walker song. I just feel it. I can feel it now.
I'm not coming at you with Butch because Willis has the biggest bromance on Butch Walker right now. Jeff has got the bromance.
Jeff Willis. Let's make that clear. Jeff Willis.
But we decided that the theme of this was going to be sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Who wrote it better? We're all pretty sure that we have no overlap or duplications because I knew neither Willis or Spencer would pick Barry Manilow as their artist. I got to tell you, the Copacabana, man, it's got it all.
Music and passion. We're always in fashion.
Always in fashion. There's no doubt about it. So, Willis, you said ahead of the recording that you're experiencing a little bit of agita, a little anxiety, as it were. And so I feel that you should go first, just so
to get that out of the way.
I can eliminate you from the running. Well, wait a second. Wait a second. Jeff Spencer, are you going to play that new guitar for us?
Would you like me to?
Oh,
hell yeah.
Give me a second.
Oh, now I gotta edit. I gotta do all this editing.
Damn you, Spencer.
Damn you, Jeff Spencer. There he is.
Ace Frehley.
There he is.
That's
is beautiful.
This is the latest off of my production line here.
So 2 weeks ago, you were putting that in the easy bake oven, weren't you?
Yeah, and so it's done now, and everything is ready to roll, and I'm ready to. It's actually going to. I can't really say the name yet, but it's actually going to a famous person. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Fran Capitanelli?
Well, if Fran wants one, I will definitely make Fran one. This thing is really. It plays really nice.
You know what? That was fantastic, Jeff. I got to be honest with you. That was so nice.
Thank you. I think that probably good songs. There's two sides of the coin, and one of the things that keep you interested in a song and get you to examine the lyrics is the music behind it. And if you come across, do what?
It draws you in.
Yeah. And so I'm just a big fan of the music end of things, but I also realize that there's not that many people out there listening to instrumental music, but there are, yeah. But if you want to have a hit, you're gonna need some great lyrics.
So Willis, are you ready? Look, he's got his pen out. He's got notes.
Yeah, and this has been a difficult one for me too. I had trouble.
Did you?
Well,
yeah.
There were some giving go-tos. You could and I'd go this direction, and I'd get to the lyrics. I'm like, that's just part of a story, and then and it wasn't what I was looking for. So I'd find a song and be okay, I'm sold, I'm settled, and I probably changed 4 or 5 times.
I did too.
No kidding.
And in the previous podcast, usually 1 or 2 times, and I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
So are we ready?
Yeah, let's do it. Willis, give us your best shot. Is that your song? Right. Hit me with your best shot, Pat Benatar?
No, that's not it. I actually selected Wild Side by Motley Crew.
Okay.
From 1987. This song uses a lot of religious imagery to flaunt sin, which, let's face it, that's rock and roll, baby. And it dances on some lines there. It's a little bit of it can be considered a little sacrilegious, against the grain. A lot of people who listen to this song never paid attention to the lyrics, never paid attention to it. So it starts off saying, "Kneel down, you sinners, to streetwise religion. Greed's been crowned the new king. Hollywood dream teens, yesterday's trash queens. Save the blessings for the final ring. Amen." So basically, it's saying, come and get the real lesson. There's plenty of girls. There's plenty of sex. And it's all going to be worth it in the end. All of it. Then the chorus is real. It's real simple. It just says, "Take a ride on the wild side, wild side." So basically, it's just an invitation, So the next second chorus gets into. He says, "I carry my crucifix under my death list." This is my favorite lyric of the entire song. "Forward my mail to me in hell." Liars and martyrs lost faith in the Father, long lost in the wishing well. So basically, you know what you're doing. You know it's dangerous. You know it's a sin. You're dancing on that wild side. And as far as long lost in the wishing well, disappointment is what dictates the truth. What's the things that have disappointed someone in life. And then it goes back into take a ride on the wild side. So the next chorus, some people could look at it a little sacrilegious. I don't know. Some people think
it right now.
Play off the Lord's Prayer,
There's
but
no doubt there's a part of me that's feeling a little dirty right now. You know what I'm saying?
That's rock and roll, baby. Makes you feel dirty.
That was the topic: sex, drugs, rock and roll. Go ahead, Fallen Angel.
So this is kind of a playoff, and they intentionally did this, I believe, a little bit of the Lord's Prayer, but it's off. Fallen angels, so fast to kill, the kingdom come on the wild side. Our Father who ain't in heaven, be thy name on the wild side. Holy Mary, Mother, may I pray for us on the wild side. I mean, that's crossing some lines and some lyrics, especially in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Late 80s, definitely crossing some lines there. So your next chorus goes into name dropping, no names, glamorized cocaine, puppets with string of gold, East LA at midnight, Papa won't be home tonight, found dead with his best friend's wife. So basically the wild side's starting to get him. It's coming after him. People just wanting to know you and thinking that you're playing the game with the fame. So basically there's a little bit of fame that's gotten there. And then it goes into take a ride on back into the chorus, take a ride on the wild side. I've been calling the verse chorus. Forgive me on that one. He gets into the violence of playing on the wild side too long. I mean, it goes pretty hard. Gang fights, fatal strikes. We lie on the wild side. No escape. Murder, rape. Doing time on the wild side. A baby cries. A cop dies. A day's pay on the wild side. Wild side. Wild side. Tragic life on the wild side. Wild side. Just kicking ass on the wild side. So basically, this song is also about someone who reaches fame from the bottom to the top, and then it's over with. The music to the song is fairly heavy. So
I would imagine. Yeah.
The lyrics in it, they kind of get lost how deep they really, really, really are, because all you're hearing is wild side, yes, and and there's a lot going on. So it's a pretty cool song.
Spencer, you awake?
I am. I'm listening to you guys wax on about a band I do not like.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Well,
that's sacrilegious right there, man.
You had a look on your face, Jeff, like, really, Willis? Motley Crew? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We talk about Tom Petty on here. We've been talking about the Beatles. We've been talking about Joe Cocker, and you want to bring Motley freaking Crew to the podcast?
Come on, Jeff. Motley Crew hardcore represents sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Well, there's no question about it. But let me just say they are on the D list of bands that, I mean, there's nothing new about them. If it was not for Van Halen, the ultimate rock and roll band from Southern California, getting signed in the late 70s, there never would have been a Motley Crue. So Motley Crue is riding Van Halen's coattail and trying to just outshock the people. And while I like the...
Are you calling Motley Crue posers? Do you think that this is
Absolutely not. Everything they did from the first album, which is actually a great album, was authentic. They didn't copy and go after Van Halen or other sounds. They created a completely different sound.
Okay, let me finish saying what I was going to say. All of these bands from Southern California should bow down to Van Halen and thank them for their fame, because once Van Halen hit, all these bands from Southern California got signed, and Motley Crue was one of them. And I will give you that their first two albums were good. They were good and they were interesting. Right. But they're a Southern California band. They from Hollywood, and They just were definitely one of the bands out there that represent sex, drugs, and rock and roll. What I don't really care for them about is really their musicianship, and I never thought their lyrics were very poetic. I know that they painted a picture they painted a picture in this song, definitely a very vivid picture, but I just don't find anything, compelling about them or poetic. And, Nikki Sixx is their songwriter, and I think at this point in his career, he was just getting tired.
I kind of get the feeling, Jeff Spencer, that you're saying this was commercialized rock and roll.
Yes, I think that they found a formula, and they definitely went every song for that formula, and it made them money. And this is one of the songs, though. Maybe I'm overstating my case, guys, just to get some.
Look, I asked for controversy on our last text thread. You guys,
I might be overstating my case, but there are some good songs.
What I'm trying to figure out, Jeff, is you say Motley Crue is commercialized rock and roll. If it wasn't for Van Halen, they would have never have gotten. Van Halen paved the way. Well, hell, man.
If it weren't for Kiss, there'd be no Van Halen.
Let's say that about the Beatles, right? Like, do you feel that Guns N' Roses falls into that category?
Actually, no. In a sense, though, they were much later than Motley Crue. They came out at the end of the 80s, but they all have to bow the knee to Van Halen. I think all these heavy rock bands from Southern California. Maybe overstating my case, but this song in particular, I don't like because of the music, and so. It's heavy, like you said, but it changes tempos in there, and it goes to halftime in a part in the chorus and stuff. I just don't like it. I just don't like the song.
But we're talking about lyrics, and we're talking about the fact that there is some poetry in these lyrics here. Some very beautiful poetry in these lyrics.
I disagree. But I do think they paint a vivid picture, but I see nothing at all poetic about these lyrics.
I got to tell you, Willis, Jeff Spencer is spiritually offended by this song.
I am not offended by this song. My song may be darker than his. I don't know, but I'm not spiritually offended. But y'all just give me the break of let me not be a huge Motley Crue fan.
No, I loved it. I loved the banter. I thought that was awesome.
But I love Jeff Willis though. and you know what I love about Willis too? I love how much he loves music, because you two guys, we talk music all the time, and I'll get a text at midnight of him and it's saying, man, listen to this song. I just love it. I love it that I have somebody that I can enjoy music with.
Well, I feel the same way with both you guys, because you both have shared music that's actually influenced me over the past couple of years.
All right, Jeff Spencer. Let's see how you can offend me or Willis.
This, like I said, this is a difficult subject because, I just wish there was somebody out there writing songs about sex or drugs or rock and roll. I just could not.
It wasn't easy to find one where they sing about all three.
And so sometimes you just have to say, okay, the rock and roll is actually happening now. They're singing about sex and drugs, but it's the rock and roll that's the vehicle that's carrying the lyrics about sex and drugs. I just started thinking about this, and being a musician since I was a young tyke, and growing up, and how all three of these were just a huge part of my life daily, and generally. They were all very important to me. And
sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Being, single man, traveling in bands, all three were easy to come by. Sex and drugs and rock and roll have been part of my life since I was a kid, and because they were really important to me, and I was just listening to the kind of music that exalted that kind of stuff when I was growing up. All these lyricists, that's just what they sang about. I was listening to bands like Kiss, Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin. These guys were the ones. Rolling Stones. Keith Richards says rock and roll is music for the neck downward, meaning rock and roll is for the crotch instead of the brain.
Yeah.
And Stones, Zeppelin, Aerosmith, all these guys were just exalting that lifestyle, and that's who I wanted to be when I grew up, because of these words and how they told the story in their song, and how they made you wanted to be part of that. I mean, who could not listen to Kiss, Rock and Roll All Night, and say, oh my God, that is what I want? When I first heard Kiss, I was listening to the Osmond Brothers when I was a kid, and then when I heard Kiss for the first time, my life changed. And I quit sports. I've told that story on another podcast, and I came out, went and bought a guitar, and the rest is history. But I had trouble picking a song because my question was, do I want to do something positive and upbeat, a positive upbeat rocker that shows the beautiful side of that life, like Beautiful Girls by Van Halen or Bottoms Up by Van Halen, which both would be great to do, because this is the 1 year anniversary this week of Eddie Van Halen's death.
That's
also
right.
Tom Petty's death too. 4 years ago, Tom Petty died. 1 year ago, Eddie Van Halen died. Or do I want to do something melancholy and dark that shows the true results of living that lifestyle, like Captain Jack, Billy Joel, or Since I've Been Loving You, Led Zeppelin, or Gold Dust Woman by Fleetwood Mac, which is about cocaine addiction? Or do I want to do something that's wistful and nostalgic, looking back at youth, somebody who loves that part of life and looks back on it with fondness, like Even the Losers by Tom Petty, or Romeo's Tune by Steve Forbert, or even Brown Eyed Girl or Jack and Diane? All those songs look back, a wistful look at a young life that's involved in sex and drugs and all that kind of stuff. But the one I did choose.
Here we go, man. That was a build-up, dude.
I know.
Man, I'm ready.
All right, so the one I did is a dark one. It's a dark one, and it's a picture of where the drugs and sex and rock and roll life can take you, and I've experienced it myself. I even have a personal story that goes along with this, but it's a song about addiction, struggling as a musician with the mundane sameness of life when you're stuck in an addiction. And my song is Perfect Blue Buildings by the Counting Crows.
Absolutely. Great
and
song.
Which I just saw them a couple of weeks ago down in New Orleans, and they were fantastic, man. They've still got it. They came out and slayed. But Perfect Blue Buildings by Counting Crows. And this, I know the lyrics are up for interpretation here, but this is, I believe it's about somebody in a rock band that's touring, that's struggling with addiction and fitting in with people and society. But here we go. Just down the street from your hotel, baby, I stay at home with my disease. He's, anybody who's had one knows that a drug addiction will keep you inside.
That's right.
And ain't this position familiar, darling? Well, all monkeys do what they see. We're talking about monkeys on the back. Help me stay awake. I'm falling. Down on Virginia and Loma, where I got friends who'll care for me. He knows where to get what he needs. He knows where to get what he needs. You got an attitude of everything I ever wanted. I got an attitude of need. Help me stay awake. I'm falling asleep in perfect blue buildings beside the green apple sea. Gonna get me a little oblivion. Try to keep myself away from me. And look at this kind of psychedelic imagery in the chorus there, perfect blue buildings, green apple sea, maybe a reference to, you know, there's hotels, these perfect blue stamped out buildings, hotels on the road when you're on a drug binge. And he's saying, I need to keep myself away from me. You know, an addict is his own worst enemy. How do you keep away from yourself, especially when you're struggling with an addiction? And you can't quit doing these things to yourself. And in a personal story that I had, I'll keep it real brief, but when I was living in LA back in the 80s and trying to make it in the music business, and he's talking about falling asleep and, you know, passing out and the things he kept doing to himself. I got addicted to some pretty hard things. And I remember the thing that made me want to come home and realize that I needed to get out of Los Angeles. I woke up in the middle of the night one night on the 405 freeway outside of my car, laying with my head out the car. I was in the front of my car, laying with my head out in the lane of traffic, and cars were whizzing by right by the top of my head. And what woke me up was cars, you know, just getting so close that they were making my hair blow. And I woke up. Definitely, I was passed out because of some really heavy drugs that I was doing. And I said, I've got to get home. I've got to get home. And and I think that this song is talking about the same thing. And you wake up in the morning when you're on these drug binges and you hate yourself. You hate yourself. I did. And I just didn't know what to do. And so the next verse kind of speaks. He's talking about the despair that these drug addictions can lead to. It's 4:30 a.m. on a Tuesday, and it doesn't get much worse than this. Who's up at 4:30 a.m. on a Tuesday?
I am.
Well, yeah, you're just waking up. Yeah, I mean, if you're up, you know, us rock and roll guys,
Yeah.
we only, you know,
it's still awake at 4:30 a.m.
Yeah, but it's 4:30 a.m. on a Tuesday, and it doesn't get much worse than this. In beds, in little rooms, in buildings, in the middle of these lives, which are completely meaningless. He's sitting there contemplating life. He's in a bad drug addiction, and he's just come to the conclusion that life is meaningless. Help me stay awake. I'm falling asleep in perfect blue buildings beside the green apple sea. Gonna get me a little oblivion. Try to keep myself from myself and me. And then the last verse is talking about these skeletons that build up in your closet. And anybody that has had continued drug addictions and problems with it knows that one part of that kind of lifestyle are the skeletons that you have in your closet and the people that you hurt and disappoint and the secrets that you keep. And that's what this verse is about. I got bones beneath my skin, and mister, there's a skeleton in every man's house. Beneath the dust and love and sweat that hangs on everybody, there's a dead man trying to get out. Please help me stay awake. I'm falling asleep in perfect blue buildings beside the green apple sea. Going to get me a little oblivion to try to keep myself away from myself and me. I think that he's painting a very dismal and dark and desperate picture of where the rock and roll, the sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle can take you. I've been there, and thankfully I made it out. There's some of my friends that never made it out, and there's a lot of people, famous people too, that never made it out.
Yeah. Well, you were right. It's dark, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is dark, and you know, just that whole line, help me stay awake. I'm falling asleep. And the way it's written, like I'm looking at the lyrics here, it's help me stay awake. I'm falling asleep in perfect blue buildings.
Yeah.
Right. And so
go ahead.
Is it a continuation? Is it I'm falling asleep in perfect blue buildings? Or help me stay awake, I'm falling asleep in perfect blue buildings, right?
It could be either.
Yeah.
Or both.
And I'm going to tell you this podcast is all about imagery, right? And I'm going to tell you, beside the green apple sea, that's vomit.
I never thought of that, Arnie. That's clever. And I think you're right.
That is clever.
Makes sense.
That's what I pictured. In my head, I see a guy who's lying down. He's trying to stay awake. He's afraid of dying. He feels his life may be slipping away. And there's a cry for help me stay awake. And he says, and he goes, I'm asleep in these perfect blue buildings. And I don't know what that was. To me, it was clouds. And that maybe he was drifting away. Maybe he was in this. But as soon as he said beside the green apple sea, I just pictured this guy laying on the ground, and there's all this puke next to him, and it's got the chunks in it, and it's the green apple sea.
Chunks of apples.
What's that?
Chunks of apples.
Chunks of whatever, man.
Yeah.
Probably olives.
Look, let me just say real quick, and y'all, I definitely want to hear more of your thoughts, but I've struggled with this kind of stuff before, and thank God that I no longer am. But if there's anybody out there listening to this right now, one of our 6 listeners, if you're struggling with addiction of some kind, you can get help. It's available. Call this number, 1-800-662-4357, 1-800-662-4357. Somebody will answer the phone that'll help you with your addiction.
There you go.
All right, Go ahead, guys. I'm sorry. I want to hear what else you think.
Jeff knows that Counting Crows is one of my all-time favorite bands. I love Adam, lead singer who writes majority of the lyrics, if not all of them. I mean, it's just brilliant. This is a song that I've heard many, many times and have paid attention to the lyrics. My favorite in this is there's a dead man trying to get out. And I know for me that strikes a chord personally because I've been there many times in different phases of my life, just screaming to get out. Jeff, I'm glad you chose this song, man. I dig it, man. A little pain, little inner pain. I love it.
I did kind of go. I went the Willis route this week, didn't I?
I mean, you really, really did. You really did.
Well, interesting. Another thing about Counting Crows is that I just think that any hits they have are. I'm good with it. I want them to be more and more and more popular. Their new album is an EP and it's fantastic. But I just celebrate any kind of success they have because I love them so much, because they're one of the bands that I think that are carrying on the tradition started by the Beatles and the Stones. Great lyrics, great music. They're kind of, in a sense, a faceless band because only Adam is really the big star there, but the other guys, without them, Dan and Dave and Jim and all these Mallard, without those guys, they're all fantastic musicians, and their songs paint pictures, and his lyrics are a cut above everybody else's. Not everybody else's, but they are out there making a huge deal today.
My turn?
Yes, sir. Please take it from me. I feel like I just made a whole mess of everything I wanted to say.
Tell you something, Jeff.
You did make a whole mess of this, but I would say I would not have thought of this as being sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Quite frankly, I think Jeff Willis should be happy that right now he's in second place.
I love you, Arnie.
let's see what the mainstream top 40 60-year-old pop star wants to talk about. That would be me, gentlemen. Of course, you guys, I gave you a hint that I was going to go with the Eagles' Life in the Fast Lane.
That's what I thought.
And I was, call the doctor. I think I'm going to crash. The doctor said he's coming, but you got to pay him cash. Right? I think this is just so cool. When I listen to this song, like I can feel it almost speed up as we go, as the song unfolds, like this ride that these two are on. But I am not going with Life in the Fast Lane. Are you ready, Jeff Willis?
I'm ready, man.
Because you're gonna go, oh my God, I
shit.
can't believe you went there. There was a one-hit wonder called the New Radicals.
I love I love this song.
And this guy had this big hit, right? Get What You Want or whatever it was. There was a song on there called I Hope I Didn't Just Give Away the Ending.
Hell yes.
And this song is so freaking cool. It's about, so you guys saw Breaking Bad, right?
Yep.
I want you to picture Jesse and his girlfriend. What was her name? Dang it. It was
can't remember.
Jane Margolis.
Yeah.
Jane Margolis was her name in the show. Picture these two kind of random encounter, and they kind of dig each other, and she's wearing the parochial school skirt with the high socks, and she's got the goth look going, and she's edgy, and he's he's a dope addict, but he's kind of innocent, and he's just kind of playing along. And she wanted to be a nun until the fateful day we met. I beat the crucifix in a game of Russian roulette. I burned my Beatle records just because she hated number 9. She licked rock cocaine suckers and laughed and said, her mom's doing mine. Are you an illusion, or am I just getting stoned? I can't take it alone. I hope I didn't just give away the ending. And the first time I heard that, I was like, what? How is this going to end? Like, he just said, man, I think I may have just gave it, just with that little bit, I think I just gave away the ending. So now these two meet, and they're about to go on this escapade of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. We started limping, and we caught a handicap shuttle to town, and then yelled, God healed us, as we ran off the bus, and the driver just frowned. And by the way, a little side note here, he goes, by the way, this girl was sexy, she wouldn't touch you. Well, that may not be true, but I said it so you would feel involved with this song. Like, got me, man. The second he said this girl was sexy, she wouldn't touch you, she wouldn't want you. Now, that's probably not true, but I said it so you'd be involved with the song.
Mm-hmm.
Are you an illusion? Am I just getting stoned? I hope I didn't just give away the ending. Now it starts to pick up some speed. We caught a fade taxi driver. I smiled. The ride was free. I felt like Amsterdam. Now, we all know what that means, right?
Yeah.
I felt like Amsterdam. She wanted more drugs and maybe me. I told her dealer I was broke. We hired a cameraman. We did a porno film for Coke. I hear I'm big in Japan.
I love it.
Isn't that, like, it's just so cool. Are you
Yes.
an illusion? Am I just getting stoned? I hope I didn't just give away the ending. And this is where it starts getting intense, man. And it starts picking up, right? We went back to her kitchen. We put the Coke in a can. We tied up a TV minister, and in walked her dad. Now, I don't know what tied up a TV minister means, but I'm guessing it had something to do with a TV show that they were watching or something. In walked her dad. He started drinking coffee. Too much sugar on the go. He fell dead on the floor. He thought the Coke was sweet and low. Okay? Are you an illusion, or am I just getting stoned? And then he goes, boy, she was upset. And then she stole her dad's wallet. And we drove him to the hospital to sell off his donatable body parts. And this is when she dies. They brought a depressed junkie in. She shot his cyanide up. I guess she thought it was Errol Flynn. So you all know who Errol Flynn is, the actor, right? I'm blamed. So they go to the hospital with the dead dad. They're going to find somebody who will buy his donatable body parts. In comes another junkie, and she shoots up his cyanide and dies. Right? And then he goes, I'm blamed in the confusion, and the police are being phoned. I don't even love you. We weren't even friends. It was just that I couldn't take it alone. I hope I didn't just give away the ending. And then at the very end of the song, he goes, oh shit, I think I just gave away the ending.
I think the ending is that he falls asleep in perfect blue buildings.
And perfect with some apple chunks next.
Yeah.
So
across the street from the wild side.
Yeah.
Yes. So I got to tell you guys, this was wonderfully coincidental. The controversy on the Motley Crew thing and the the anti-Christian messaging that Willis teed up and got Spencer all upset.
Hey,
Jeff Spencer goes into a deep, dark drug addiction song. And then I go mainstream, New Radicals, pop rock and roll, song literally about sex and drugs.
Drugs and rock and roll.
Don't know there was a much of rock and roll in there, but
The
they
story's
did.
rock and roll.
it's implied.
What's that? Oh yeah, burn the Beatle
story.
records.
Hey, well, that's what I love. New Radicals, I heard them when they came out in the 90s. They're an example of a band that the one-hit wonder playing on the radio ruined it for me. After that song came out that was on the radio play, I refused to listen to them because I hated that song.
No
Then
kidding.
you shared this with me a few years ago.
Yes,
you shared this
I shared this song with you.
And they're on my playlist, man. What is it, like Church on a Monday? I mean, that's just a great song.
Church on a Monday. I'm crying like Church Monday.
On a Monday. And, I mean, these guys are really, really good. And I remember you telling me, Jeff, you want to hear one of the best produced albums out there? This is one of them.
Yeah, for sure. And what I read about this guy from the New Radicals, Greg Alexander, was because of the success of that song, he walked away from being an artist and went into writing and production because he just didn't want it. He didn't want it. And I remember the first time I saw him on MTV, I was like, this guy is a star. This guy, I mean, he drew me in. Unbelievable. And he's got a girl in the band. She was the little girl on All in the Family.
No way.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm glad you went with this one. I am a little surprised because you say mainstream. This is really not mainstream. There's very few people, I'm going to say, who have heard this out there.
You're right. The band, the band was a one-hit wonder. They were a mainstream band, but
I'm impressed, Mr. Arnie. This is awesome.
I am too. I do
Great
like
job.
to call out in this song that he had a hit. He told Courtney Love and Marilyn Manson to come around. He's going to kick their asses. I love that part.
Great episode, guys. This one I really feel was one of our better ones for sure.
I thought Jeff was going to kick my ass.
What are you talking about?
So I'll get this edited and posted up, and I'm gonna put it up, and ask people to vote on which song do they believe is the better representation of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And
Why don't we say we vote for the three of us?
Yeah, I think both of y'all's songs were better of the lifestyle itself. Both of y'all's songs were better than mine. Mine is more of a result of living that lifestyle, which is you got to consider.
Spencer, you trying to get votes on humility? Are you trying to get the humility vote here from the audience?
No.
Well,
I'm gonna pick Arnie. You surprised me, but you're the one who showed me that song. I mean, and it's spot on. I mean, the story. I mean, I was getting chills as you were reading it, and then I could hear the music in the background, and just getting kind of just revved up.
All right, so let's go for it. You have to vote for one of the songs. You can't vote for your own. Mm-hmm. I'm going with Spencer.
Wow.
I'm going with you, Cap.
I think I don't know. It's a tie between both of you because they're so similar, but I think I like yours is more of a story, Arnie, so I'm going to go with that one too.
I win?
Yeah.
You win. Hey, and you know what? All three songs, you could kind of put them together.
Yeah.
They're all sex, drugs, rock and roll.
Yeah, there's different aspects of it. Hey, Willis's is telling a story about the overall city and the conditions in it. Yours is a singular story that's going on in the city. And then mine is what happens to that guy after his encounter at the hospital, and he leaves and his life turns sour even more.
I had an idea this recently, which was name a song that best describes your childhood.
Ooh.
And I know Jeff Spencer's already.
Oh, yeah. Now that you say that, I can. There is definitely one.
Father of mine.
Dum, da, 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 dum.
Yeah, that may not be a very pretty topic.
It would be tough, man. Jeff, you look, Spencer, you look exhausted.
I just am forlorn. I just thinking in my head and all this about this stuff. It just reminds me so much of my past, and I'm just sitting here right on the verge of tears because it just hurts.
Why didn't you bring that up, man?
I don't know. I felt like I was getting a little too personal in the middle anyway, and I blew it. I think I blew it.
Right. That was real. You've been listening to My Music Scene with Jeff Spencer, Jeff Willis, and little old humble Arnie Cap.
All right.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.